Good afternoon, and thank you so much for visiting today's 12-step roadmap to achieve accelerated results, and I'm very excited to have you today. As we go through life, you guys constantly hear me talk about who you choose to connect with, who you choose to have in your inner circle, who you choose to have as an influencer, a mentor, a vendor, or a partner. I'm sure everybody that's listening and has attended the rest of the training series knows that that's the very first place I start, is how you think, and the second is who you're connected to, with that network of strategic advisors and coaches, friends, mentors, and sometimes I'll even take it as far as family members that you surround yourself with, because it's critical to your success. Typically, if you take a look at the top 10 people that are in your inner circle and that you surround yourself with, most likely your business is going to look very similar to theirs as far as the success rate, where you are from an annual revenue standpoint, how well your business performs, and so forth. Additionally, if you look at where they are within their overall life, many times you're going to see some major consistencies. I'm extremely excited to be able to introduce you to someone who I believe is in my inner circle. I believe in what she stands for professionally, what she stands for in working with her customers. I also believe what she stands for in life. And this is a huge reason why you are able to meet Diane Conklin. She is a highly recognized author. She is a marketing strategist and extremely good at helping businesses understand systemically what do they need to put in their business. Also, what is the technology that they need to have as the primary infrastructure within their business, and what are the goals and measurement systems that they need to be able to implement in order to evaluate all of their activities. I love the fact that she doesn't think like an advertising person. She doesn't think like a branding person. She thinks like a business owner, and that is something that I value, someone that is constantly looking for ways to increase results, improve ROI, generate new revenue. And with that being said, Diane Conklin, I am so happy to have you here today, and I'd love to hear a little bit about what you have going on in your business right now that all of our attendees would like to know about.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the great introduction, and I'm honored not only to be here with you today, but to be a part of the 12-step roadmap. I take that very, very seriously, as you know, anytime I get to play with other people and have access to their people. So thank you very much for that. Always exciting things going on here, and always trying to be doing some new and fun things to help our clients and partners and things grow. As you know, we do a lot of done-for-you marketing kinds of things. One of the things I'm really excited about right now, I'm in the midst of sort of a beta test that I haven't really launched yet, but sort of a business and marketing success academy kind of program where people can go and get questions answered, and sort of based on, if you're familiar with Khan Academy, I'm sort of basing it on that. So I'm looking at doing that right now. We're diving, going a little wide into some new niches right now, and of course I have my Magic Money Map program, which is the calendar program and the systems and things that we talk about that we're always doing, and probably in the fall sometime we'll be looking at an event. So, you know, one or two things that we're working on.
I don't know why you're not busy. I'm not sure.
I know. Oh, and I just got back from a trip where I did a presentation for CEOs, as well as did a VIP day with a client while I was in San Fran. Leave next week to speak in Denver, and the week after that I'll be in Hawaii speaking for the second time with Merle Norman, which is a cosmetics company. I'm in their 85-year history, the second speaker that they've asked to come back a second time. So, you know, one or two little things.
I love it. You are fantastic. We live in a similar space. I love that. I love that. You guys, I invited Diane not only to join me today for the webinar, but on my short list of speakers and experts that we have inside the 12-step roadmap program. We have met with Diane. We've had some awesome conversations. You know, obviously there's a tremendous amount of synergies for us to include her in the overall coaching program and be a featured expert on the website. So please understand the amount of due diligence that has been done, and to ensure that we're providing you with the absolute best and most credible resources to be able to help advise and provide information and training and coaching and so forth. She is lined up with my top-notch advisors, and I'm excited to have you as a featured speaker and trainer and expert on 12-Step Roadmap. With that being said, we're going to take a moment and we're going to play a little game because I want to keep this interesting and sharp. I love it when you have somebody that's so bright and good at what they do. You can throw anything to them. They don't need a script or a set of interview questions, and they just roll. So are you ready for a game?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Awesome. First portion, we're going to take a look at the 12-Step Roadmap website, and each one of the very first slides is something that is in the value, purpose, and mission of 12-Step Roadmap. I would love to hear your thoughts as it relates to your interactions with your clients, and I want to hear how important is each one of these slides and where you would put it as far as prioritization. The first slide being learning. The smartest people love to learn. High achievers come here to get real results, avoid stagnation through our experts, constant information, and push for self-improvements. Your thoughts, go.
Well, it's one of my top values. As a matter of fact, you and I talked earlier about my circle of life, and I have 7 things in my circle of life. This is one of them. Mine actually says awakening to the light of learning and self-growth, and that's how important this is to me. I believe that when you stop learning, a part of you dies. So it's a huge, huge value for me. It's something that I've done and that I recommend my clients do. I've done it since before I started my business. I've always been a reader. I've always been somebody who's been into self-help and those kinds of things. But I read right now about 2 books a month, give or take. But, the last thing I do every night, actually before I go to bed, is spend 45 minutes or so reading and then about 15 minutes journaling. So I think, you have to continue, especially in today's world. If you're not continuing to learn and be fresh, then you are stagnant and you're behind the times. And as a business owner, you are a leader and people look to you. Your team looks to you. Your clients look to you. Other business owners look to you. And, in that leadership role, if you're not constantly learning and moving yourself forward in some way, shape, or form, whether it's from a business perspective or whether it's from a, personal growth perspective or spiritual or financial or whatever those areas are that are important to you, you're getting way, way behind. So, I would put this definitely in my top 7 and probably certainly in my top 3.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I always say learners will inherit the earth. They will inherit the earth. Those who believe that they know everything are going to find themselves in a new world that has been inherited by those that continue to learn. Fantastic. I love that answer. All right. We're going to skip that one. Next, coaching. Coaching is an investment in yourself, business, and your results. Leverage our experts to help you reach peak performance. Your thoughts, go.
Again, coaching. I have had a coach since I started my business, even when I, quote, couldn't afford one. The great thing to me is you need somebody in your life, and typically it can't be another coworker. It probably can't be your partner, spouse, a significant other. It has to be somebody who can look at your life and your business and say, here are the areas to look at, because you're in it, right? You're in the forest. You can't see the forest for the trees because you're emotionally attached to that. It's your baby, if you will, and you've put all this time and energy and everything into your business. If you, somebody asked me not too long ago the top 3, and this was in my top 3. If you were going to start a business, what were the things you couldn't be without? And one is a coach or a mentor, because, it just speeds up where you are. I mean, people who've gone before you, and what I say to my clients all the time is, I don't have to be, and you should take this in your own business as well, you don't have to be, just like I don't have to be the know-all expert in it. I just have to be 10 minutes ahead of where my clients are, because then I can help them go through that thing. And I want to have somebody who's at least 10 minutes ahead of me leading me through. The the scariest place you'll ever find yourself in a business relationship is if you're the smartest person in the room, if you're the smartest person on the other end of the phone, you need to find people who can pull you up to their level, because it's very scary to always be the smartest person in the room. You're not hanging out with people who can help you.
Oh, amen, sister, all day. This is what a great segue for a little side introduction. I want to say it was about 7 or 8 years ago. I was introduced to Tony Jerry. He actually was a referral for me to help him with his digital marketing presence, his website, social media, SEO, and so forth. And when we got there, I went in just like I normally am, very confident about what I know. And all of a sudden, when it came to where it was positioned from a digital standpoint, I absolutely was in that position and was able to provide, obviously an extreme amount of coaching and support. And then all of a sudden, the more I started learning about him, coach to the top 500 CEOs in the world, coach to the highest achievers in the world, the network, he coached Zig Ziglar. The network and the interactions and the companies that he did business with, and not to mention, I was sitting in his studio in his backyard, which you pay a significant amount of money to come into his backyard strategic acceleration studio on his amazing property in Flower Mound. And I started looking around and having that conversation with myself, saying, I am going to do whatever I need to do for this man to be able to be coached by him. And I will tell you, probably one of the single most influential people in my life has been Tony Jerry. And I am constantly, to this day, I will do anything he needs, simply because I believe in his strategy, his philosophy, the systems, the tools, and so forth that he provides. I love being able to communicate with him because I absolutely am not the smartest person in the room. I sit, in his studio with his colleagues and with his clients on a regular basis, and it's really amazing. He wound up introducing me to Tammy Kling. Tammy Kling took on the role of head of our communications department, is an author of his books, their connections, their world. It's why they're here. So I love your answer to that as well. It's critical. I have a coach. I would not be without one. I have more than one. And it's probably the single most important investment I have in my world. I love the fact that they look at me, how I think, the decisions, what my ideas before. I used to just do things and then ask for input later because I thought I was that smart. Now I actually come up with ideas in my little dream world that I usually think of the most things. And I present them. And we have what I call a permission-based relationship. So when I present an idea to them, they very quickly come back with all of the knowledge and experience, and they explain to me what I don't know. And it's very difficult because most people, I'm just going to say, all people have no clue what they don't know because you don't know it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, what's the old saying? You don't know what you don't know, and the scariest thing is if you don't know that you don't know that you don't know.
Isn't that? I know. We have to have that objective coach. Best investment ever, 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 ever. They literally remove blind spots. I love, you and I are in the same position as far as sitting down with business owners and consumers and high achievers and talking to them about where they're at. And, you'll hear things like, oh, it doesn't work in my business. Or the best one is, these are my two favorite statements that absolutely show a blind spot. The first one is, you don't understand. The second one is when you're visiting with someone, they're like, well, you just don't understand that blank. Well, I don't care what blank is. That's a very difficult statement to say to somebody that has as much experience. And the second one is, I can understand how that works in other business, but it probably wouldn't work in my industry. To make an industry statement, that's, or that it doesn't work in their industry, and it's primarily usually because they're not doing it right. So yes, blind spot removal, people in your life are critical. Fantastic. All right, next. Let's go back to this. So we have winning, helping others win. Our coaches look for ways to create wins by connecting people with the right knowledge and expertise to help get them the very results that they want. Your thoughts about connecting people or being around people who like to help other people win?
You know, it's the only thing that matters, is the connections that you make, right? Because the bottom line is that, you know, none of us, and I guess it's a little woo-woo, or if you were a little philosophical, whatever word you want to use, but, you know, none of us are promised the next thing, and none of us know when something tragic is going to happen or something's going to happen in our business that, you know, just changes in our personal life, whatever. You know, it's easy to think you can separate the two, but you really can't. And when you are in those times, it's the connections that you have. It's the people that are in your life. It's those relationships that you've nurtured that matter. I just had a situation this morning. I have a client, I won't go into the whole story, but who was diagnosed shortly after she started to work with me with really, really bad cancer. And she's cancer-free now. She has been. This has been a couple of years ago. But she sent me a message this morning out of the blue and just said, hey, I've been thinking about you. I just want you to know how much your influence has made to me, and how much every day I take on something that you taught me. And, you know, to me, that just means the world to me, because so I have an analogy that I call the ripple effect, right? We've all heard of this. But my sort of thing for that is if you take each of the words, right? So ripple, repetition in place produces little effects somewhere. And the reason that means so much to me is that not only did I affect her life in the time that we were together, but she has 3 kids, she has a husband, and so the lives that she touches in some way was a direct reflection of me. The lives her kids touch because I touched her and she touches them. So that ripple effect of one relationship literally has touched hundreds of lives. And so when you have hundreds of clients or thousands of clients, you have the ability to touch literally hundreds of thousands, potentially millions and tens of millions of lives. And so I just think those relationships that you build and that you nurture are the very things that make not only your business work, but your life work. Because we all have times when we need somebody to reach out to for an answer, for a little help here and there. And so it's so important, and I think something that now is getting a lot more attention than ever before, but I think still not enough business owners put enough emphasis on.
I completely agree. It has to be a way of life, and it has to be intentional. I have people all the time, they'll ask me, we do this 12-step roadmap. Well, there's this handful of training series that I do that are teaching people obviously about web search, social, mobile, and more of the marketing aspects. And when I do the webinars, I would probably say that about 40 to 60% of the attendees are other marketing agencies. So I had a gentleman, he sent me an email last week, and he said, I noticed every time you do these trainings, you're constantly calling out all of these marketing companies. And he was like, I thought you were the CI or the CEO of CI Web Group. So, absolutely am. And he was like, I don't understand why you would ever train all your, and my favorite word, competitors, and why you would promote them in their environment. And I had to have a really, really good coming to Jesus meeting with them, and just talk about helping others win. And when we are designed to work together. You build websites, you do social media, you do email marketing, you do information marketing, sequence-based marketing. I absolutely support you in every one of your efforts to take those products and solutions and services to market and help business owners because they need the help and because it's the right thing to do. And that really it boils down to do what's right consistently. Sometimes, I had a mentor, Lars Lofstrom. He said, if you could just get people to do what they already know they should do, they would consider you a genius.
Yeah.
We know we're supposed to do the right thing. And so I love your philosophy on helping other people win. All right. I'm going to my favorite one. Freedom. Freedom comes from knowledge and absolute discipline. With the right choices and decisions, you can support the life you really want to lead. How does that even play a role in your products and services and coaching and strategy and all the things that you put into place with your clients?
Well, I think most of us went into business because that's what we wanted, right? We wanted freedom. What most people end up with is not freedom. They end up with a job instead of owning a business. And so when we teach people, and it's interesting, one of the things that I often say is glue your butt to the seat and do your work. Because that's what it's about. It's that discipline. And it's not a popular word, right? I mean, I grew up on a 75-acre farm with a father who was very, very disciplined. And, it was one of those, when he asked you to jump, you didn't say yes or no. It was how high, kind of thing. And that sort of left us, I think. But you get freedom by being disciplined. I think probably even more than by being knowledgeable. Because you're going to make mistakes, even if you have knowledge, and I call it know-how, right? The difference between knowledge and know-how is knowledge and action is know-how. And you're still going to make mistakes, but if you have the discipline and the fortitude to keep persisting and keep moving forward, eventually the freedom comes because you have the discipline. And when you're disciplined to do the right things, not necessarily do things right, but do the right things, and there's a huge difference there. When you have that discipline and every day you put your butt in the chair and you sit there and do what you're supposed to do, things get done. And when things get done, then more things get done, right? It's the whole, the more I have to do, the more I get done. The less I have to do, the more I sit around and don't do anything. And so freedom comes from being disciplined, from doing the right things, and it comes because of the work that you did, because you set things up, you systemize, and you leverage. And so that's what we all wanted. That's the reason for, I would say probably 90% of the people I talked to went into business to have this thing that they called freedom. And so many of them don't have it because they don't have the discipline. I hear, it's amazing to me the stories when you sit in business meetings about what people do during the day that sort of distracts them. Because I'm from the time I sit at my desk until I try to finish up between 5 and 5:30 every night to go have dinner with the family and spend time with with the kids and the spouse. It's amazing the things that people do between those hours that are not related to the goal of getting them where they want to go in their business. So it's something that's really important because it was the goal you set for yourself when you started your business.
Absolutely. Okay, so based on that, let's go through this route. Let's say we'll just do a mathematical equation here. There's 168 hours in a week. You sleep for 56. Do maintenance, taking care, brushing your hair, taking baths, brushing your teeth, and so forth for about 12. So we're going through a week. That leaves 100 hours per week left over. 168 hours in a week, 56 you sleep, 12 you do maintenance. That leaves 100 hours left over. And then you have children and families and business and everything else. So I know what Diane was talking about was managing your minutes, knowing, my thought on that is you have to detox your life from anything and anyone that is not good for you, waste your time, distracts you from your goal. You talked about discipline. I believe that a lack of discipline and poor habits are indicators of a lack of success, and unsuccessful people that don't want other people to win. And that is, it's difficult. I hear people say, that these are time wasters. My thought is very, very simple. Any of these time wasters that you allow to take away from your 100 hours per week, which is all you have left over, they're coming from something. They're either coming from you making money, building your business, generating leads, spending time with your family, spending time in educating your children, taking a mental break, planning, strategizing, formulating your next goals, or simply resting. So,
right. But I don't have time, Jennifer.
I know you don't have time.
Right.
I bet I could calculate the number of hours in somebody's life that they spend saying I don't have time, and I could make a few bucks with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the 100 hours though, right? When you see it, like as you were going through that, I was writing it down in case you asked me a math question.
I knew you would.
Because I have to have it in front of me, right? I'm visual. And so I wrote that down, 100 hours, and I thought, wow, doesn't that take away every reason, by the way, it's the same. It's just a flip-flop of words. Every reason that someone gives you for the time thing, right? Takes that completely away.
So if I said manage time, don't let time manage you, what would you say? I just lost Diane's audio, so I'm going to help with that.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, fantastic. I can. So my thought was, if I had, so our next slide, which I don't have a slide for, but I'll throw it out there. Manage time, don't let time manage you. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting. My philosophy is that you don't manage. The only thing we really manage in life besides ourselves are systems. And if you put systems in place, you don't have to worry about managing people, because people are going to either manage the systems or they're not. And that's a really simple solution. If they're not managing the systems, then they get to go, right? So this whole idea of what we manage is an interesting concept. But your time is the most valuable asset that you have. If you're not managing it, somebody else is managing it for you. And it's always interesting to me when we talk about, people say to me a lot, how do you implement and execute and get so much stuff done? It's simple. Whatever my calendar says I'm supposed to be doing at that time, that's what I'm doing. And I know that, again, it comes back to the discipline we just talked about. And some people have used the word with me, militant. It's not militant, it's discipline. It's the fact that I can focus in on what I'm supposed to be doing, when I'm supposed to be doing it, because I can manage myself and my time. Then when the clock strikes and it's time for me to go do something else, I can go do that. Why? Because I can be fully present where I am in that moment. If my brain is in 19 other places, then my time becomes less valuable because I'm not focusing. So if you do nothing else in your day, manage your time. And I get it, right? People say, yeah, but Diane, I have, my team is knocking at my door or whatever. You train people how to what is appropriate and how they can treat you. I worked in an office for a long time that by the time we walked in the door until 1 o'clock, no one was allowed to answer the phone and no one was allowed to be anywhere but their own office or the bathroom. You couldn't go ask somebody a question. After 1 o'clock, we did that, right? And what I did is I had times that I met with my direct reports once a week, because what happened then was very simple. They came to me with those things, and the problems that they had, they solved themselves. They didn't need me for it once they knew I wasn't available. And I use that a lot with my clients. Take a day and pretend you're not in the office and don't let people come to you. It's amazing how much you get done because you're managing your time instead of letting someone else manage your time for you.
Heck yeah. Okay, so let's get down and dirty. Let's even go one step further, which I think is you and I function in a very systemic way. I think both of us think in bullet points, and that's why our brains operate like this. And it's also why sometimes when we're talking to people that's brains function differently, it's kind of like driving down the highway in fifth gear, dropping it into reverse, doing 75 miles an hour down a freeway, and their transmission is 90 miles back while there's sparks flying out their tail. So
right.
That being said, let's address that because it's real. So many times I'll talk to people about the key to good time management is emotional health, which is how you think. So a couple things. One, being proactive, not reactive. Planning and managing the little things so that the big things don't arise. The second thing is managing your your emotions and how you think. Literally, the world around you is created as a result of how you think. For example, something happens in the news that's a disaster. Your thought on whether it's a disaster to you or the impact on you and the impact you're going to allow it have on your day is one thing. I'll give you, here's another example. So years ago, I went through a divorce, and I would have people that would come up and they would go, "Oh, I just heard, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, absolutely, I'm fine." But it was so weird to me because I've been studying how to manage my thoughts for so long that, yes, I was going through a divorce, but I absolutely chose and spoke out loud that this is not exhausting, this is not sad, this is not difficult, this is just, another list of calendar items I had, and people might think this is insensitive, but we'll leave that to their thoughts. It was a list of tasks that I needed to go through and complete, and I wanted nothing negative from it. There's no reason. It doesn't have to be draining. It doesn't have to be negative. And so those were all mental choices. So, I tell people on a regular basis that there are different levels. There's, for me, I call them zones. I have different zones as far as my emotions go. I have zone 1, which is highly sensitive, very in tune. That is the highest level activity, extremely alert, which is my normal condition. I'm constantly like that. Very, very sharp, very quick, very, very focused, very alert, and so forth. When I'm in that zone, if something negative were to happen, for example, I'm in an airport, they lost my bags, I'm speaking, I have an outfit on I don't like, and I have to be somewhere in an hour and talk in front of 500 people. If I'm in that zone, that could be a very bad day. So I have learned to change zones, which is zone 2. I slow down. I become more observant and less reactive. So it would be more of a thought of, my bags are gone. It's a 2-hour drive from JFK to downtown. It's cabs. I know there's a Macy's on 45th Street. I have to be at the Omni Hotel by this time. Okay, I'm going to ask some questions. And then I have zone 3, which is almost comatose, where I call it my checkout zone. So, which means regardless of whatever commotion is happening around me, I choose not to participate.
Right.
But and even the most dramatic situations, sometimes I'll have even my own team. Something will happen in the business where technically, did somebody do something that would be considered wrong in other people's eyes? Absolutely. For me, my thinking, I will pull back, think about it, and I absolutely have to logically go through the process of saying, you know what? Would I do that? No. However, I understand why they did what they did, and that's okay. There's a lot of average and normal, not so good actions that people take. So I'm not going to, what I can't do is allow it to modify what you said, my systems. I can't allow things that I have no control over, other people's decisions, to modify my decisions or my system or my schedule or my objectives or my goals. And you're right. When you said you train people how to interact with you, that is a big deal. You set the standards for your life. You set the standards for your business, for your time. You choose what you allow to interrupt your mission. So I think, much of this comes down to not exactly what you do, but sometimes the first step is learning, how do I think? What benefits me as far as my thinking? And how do I modify it? If I want a different result, I'm going to have to do something different, which means I have to think differently. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting that, if you think about, call it whatever you want, thinking, mindset, being proactive versus reactive, it's more important probably than most of us, give it credit, most of us ever thought about. But, it really determines everything. Are you happy? People say that all the time. Are you happy? Well, it's my choice, right? So I can let other people determine how I feel. I can let other people determine how I respond to things, or I can decide. My thing is I get to wake up every morning with a new day, which means I get to choose from the moment, I roll over and put my feet on the floor, what kind of day that day is going to be. Now, I'm not being Pollyanny. I mean, obviously there are things, that happen, but it's interesting, like you, I have gone through a breakup more recently than you have, and my business flourished. And people ask me, like, how did you do that? How did you go through all of that and move and everything that happened during that time frame? And I said, it's really simple to me. I have the ability to compartmentalize things. And so when the clock strikes, I'd like to say 9, but I'm usually at my desk before then. But when the clock strikes 9 o'clock and it's time to do business, I have to put the other things in the box and leave it outside the door. And at 5 o'clock or 5:30 or whenever I finish, if I so choose, I can pick that box back up and deal with those things then, or I can leave it sit and wait until tomorrow. Now, again, I know that sounds like, gosh, you're unfeeling, or it's not that. I felt all of it. I went through all of it. I had to feel it in order to get to the other side of it, right? And it is a pain, and it does hurt, and all of those things, but you have a choice in your life. You can let your business fall apart because your personal life has, or you can pick one or both of them up and concentrate on something. Sometimes we just need a distraction in our lives and in our world. And I think when you realize that you are the one who controls how you respond to things, and you choose whether or not you're happy or sad, whether you feel joy or love or hate, whether you're jealous or not, whether you're overwhelmed in your business and your life, or whether things go on at a pace that is easily maintained. It's all a choice. It's all your perspective, and your perspective is your reality. So whatever you choose is going to be how it happens in your life. So I think you're absolutely right. The thought processes that you have and the way that you decide to control that will, to a large degree, determine not only the success of your life, but the success of your business. Because if you can put those things aside, if you can concentrate on, again, the right things, then your day will be focused. Your day will go the way it's supposed to go. And the other piece to me about thinking is, how open can you be, right? We all grew up with however we grew up, with our thought patterns and that kind of thing. And from a business and more specifically a marketing perspective, people say exactly what you said a minute ago, right? Well, that doesn't work in my business, or we don't need to do marketing because we get word of mouth, or whatever it is. And I often challenge people when I speak and when I consult with them, and I say to them, can you just be open for the next 45 minutes while we talk about this, to a different way of thinking? And of course people always say yes, but then the challenge is, can they really? Can you really put that aside and say, yeah, I'm going to be open to what I'm hearing from Diane, or I'm hearing from Jennifer, or whoever it is, my coach, to be able to see if maybe there's a different perspective on this. So I think that's one of the really big challenges, is can you take your way of thinking and put it aside for a moment to be open, really open, and listen, not in a debate mode and not in the mode of I'm trying to change their mind or bring them to my way of thinking, but really be open to what it is people are saying and how they think, to be able to learn and grow and move your life and your business forward.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Diane, you are my mentor, my friend, my partner, my colleague, and I am so happy and thankful that you care about others and that you took time with me today to share your thoughts. For those of you that are listening to the playback of this, or you guys are on live with us now, I want to make sure that you understand how each of the experts think. sometimes because of limited time, you wind up calling a service provider and simply asking technical questions. How much does it cost? How long it's going to take to get done? What do I need to provide you? What does the project timeline look like? How much time is this going to take of mine? And those are standard and very typical questions when you're going through analyzing a provider that you want to work with, a partner you want to do business with, or a vendor that you want to secure. And I just want to make sure that you have an opportunity to really understand who Diane is, how she thinks, her mindset, because that plays a role in everything else. And all too often you find out how somebody thinks or their philosophies, and you get down into kind of the nitty gritty way too far into doing business with an individual. So our process in really bringing you into the thoughts and the mindset of Diane and her company and her team and how they do business. And, first and foremost is hopefully eye-opening, and it gives you a comfort level and the opportunity to be able to make a more well-rounded decision, a more comprehensive decision on calling Diane and getting advice and help, at least setting up a consult with her to talk about where you are. Of course, we work together, so if you need help and you want to do a joint meeting because you liked this conversation, you want us to do a consultation or a review, I would absolutely love to be able to help out with that. But Diane, you've been very, very open in sharing your thoughts, and I appreciate your time and your philosophy. How can everybody get a hold of you that's interested? And are you willing to do a complimentary consultation with any of our visitors today?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm always happy to do strategy sessions and consults to see where people are and to help out and to. That's my whole purpose is about helping people and helping business owners to move to the next level, because, the bottom line is we all get stuck, and, sometimes it's a simple solution. Sometimes there's something simple that can be done to sort of, move us into the other direction. So absolutely, always happy to do the consultation and get on the phone and chat with somebody. A couple of easy ways to get in touch. The easiest way would be to go to the website, which is CompleteMarketingSystems.com. You can get me on the 12-Step Roadmap site. My picture's there. You can click on that, and that'll take you as well. Email, if you want to email, the easiest way is info@CompleteMarketingSystems, just INFO at Complete Marketing Systems, or you can call us toll-free at 866-293-0589. And all of that information as far as getting in touch is on the website at CompleteMarketingSystems.com.
Awesome. Diane, thank you again for your time. I appreciate those of you that are listening. Make sure you register for the next series. Diane and I have a series of fantastic webinars. We're going to get into nitty-gritty marketing activities, strategies, implementation systems, measurement tactics, and everything else that you need. Our goal is to make sure you always walk away from one of your sessions with us with tactical information you can use in your business and your life right now to achieve accelerated results. Again, Diane, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well. Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.